Westchester County Commissioners meeting. Today is Wednesday, August 13th, and it is 10:01 a.m. My name is Josh Maxwell. To my left, Commissioner Marian Moskowitz. To my right, Commissioner Eric Rowe. Together, we are your Board of Commissioners.
Thank you so much. My name is Jessica Saxton. I'm a civil rights advocate and litigator from Washington, D.C. I'm here to provide public notice to Chester County Commissioners this morning. This is in accordance with USCS Rules of Civil Procedure, as well as Rule 17 and Rule 20 of the United States Supreme Court. The Constitution for the United States of America is the overarching requirement that every state must follow. I don't think that anyone here would disagree with that. States are not able to enact their own alternative legislation and substitute it for the guarantees of the Constitution. That would mean that your state laws here in Pennsylvania would be more powerful than the Constitution, and that would simply be illegal. Clause 1 of Amendment 5 states that no person should be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment by a grand jury. Unfortunately, the state of Pennsylvania has enacted its own alternative legislation that substitutes and permits your prosecuting attorneys and police officers to charge by information as opposed to indictment, and that is simply illegal. It's unconstitutional. An emolument violation is when you pay a public official to commit a crime. There are two areas of the Constitution that reinforces this. The first is Article 1, Section 10, and that's where it says that no state shall create any law that shall impair the obligation of a contract. So your contracts, your police officers, your prosecutors, your judges, they're all under a contract to perform based on the oath or affirmation that they took to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. The second area that reinforces this issue in the Constitution regarding the emolument violation and paying public officials to commit crimes is the 14th Amendment. And that's where it says that no state shall create or enforce any law that shall abridge the privileges or immunities of United States citizens. Privileges and immunities of United States citizens are at a bare minimum those that are enumerated within the Bill of Rights and the First 10 Amendments. These are not able to be impaired in any way, shape, or form. As a result, we have an inordinate amount of people currently in prison here in your state, unconstitutionally and illegally. Mr. Tanoa Downing is preparing to litigate this issue on behalf of more than 700,000 people currently incarcerated in America unlawfully. I'm here today to provide notice that you cannot continue to pay public officials to commit crimes against the citizens of this state. Criminal sanctions, unfortunately, can come from that. So I'm asking you, please take a look at Clause 1, Amendment 5. Confirm the things that I'm saying to be true and direct your public officials to act in a lawful, constitutional manner that is consistent with the obligations codified in the Constitution of the United States of America. I do have a notice that I would like to put on the record, and I want to encourage you to please read through this. Take a look at the things that we're saying and direct your public officials to act lawfully against the people of Chester. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate your public comment. This is our chief lawyer. She's going to grab that documentation from you and make sure it's added to the record.
Thank you very much. Continuing with public comment, sir, you're recognized. Please identify yourself and your municipality before speaking.
Good morning. My name is Tanoa Downing. I'm the civil rights litigator that Ms. Saxton was just talking about. I want to provide just a little bit of clarification so we can understand what just happened and how to move forward here. So I have approximately 4,600 criminal affidavits on behalf of victims that have been charged unconstitutionally by way of information here from within the state of Pennsylvania. Many are from within the county of Chester itself. So no state can create its own alternative legislation, substitute it for the guarantees of the Constitution, go out and enforce it as though it's law, because that would be obviously unconstitutional, right? So these affidavits identify two different crimes. The first is Title 18, subsection 242, which is deprivation of rights under color of law. What that statute says is that any person who, under the color of any state statute, ordinance, custom, or regulation, deprives any person of any right secured by the Constitution, commits that crime. Now, the second crime is Title 18, subsection 241, which is conspiracy to deprive of rights. What that law states is that when two or more persons conspire for the purpose of depriving any person of any rights secured by the Constitution, commits that crime. Now, these are per se crimes, which means we don't have to prove that they intended to breach their constitutional obligation. Simply by virtue of the breach, all elements of crime have been met because their willfulness and knowledge derives from the promise that they make. Now, the laws of criminal conspiracy with regard to public officials, what that states is that any person who, having knowledge of any of the wrongs conspired to be done and who have the power to prevent or aid in the prevention of the commission of same neglects or refuses to do so may be joined as defendants in the action. Now, I'm not here to get people into trouble, but what I'm saying is that if we can't get some resolution to this very, very soon, then we will have to start converting these criminal affidavits into criminal complaints. Now, the reason why we're here is because you guys pay the sheriff's department to do their job. right? And if the sheriff are going out and performing an arrest based upon an order or a warrant that's issued by a judge, when that judge relied upon a prosecutor's abuse of power, who relied upon the inferior state statute to deprive a person right guaranteed by the Constitution, you're paying for that sheriff to execute an unconstitutional warrant. And then when that sheriff goes and puts them into a jail that you guys fund, and that jail is housing them unconstitutionally, you guys are paying for that to be done. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to notify you and give you knowledge of these crimes so that you guys can take action to correct them, so we can willfully choose to obey the Constitution of the United States, recognize its supremacy, its power, and its authority, and do the right thing. So I'm not saying that these are good people. I'm not saying that these are lawful people. What I'm saying is that these are all rightful people whose rights have clearly been abridged by the county under state law, inferior state law, and that is unconstitutional. So I know that you're going to go and you're going to ask your attorney as soon as we're done whether or not what I'm saying is true, and that attorney is going to point you to a case from 1884 from the United States Supreme Court called Hurtado versus California. And before you choose to rely upon that as the foundation, I want to remind you that the Constitution of the United States of America is the foundation, not a judge-made ruling. The Supreme Court of the United States had no constituted authority to be able to alter, amend, or destroy any of the provisions that guarantees the Constitution. That must be done by an authentic act of the people in accordance with the special amending procedure of Article 5. Furthermore, judges have no authority to legislate from the bench. We know that because of Clause 1, Article 1, that says all legislative power is vested in Congress of the United States, consisting of a Senate and House of Representatives. So I implore you to please step up, discharge the duties of your office, fulfill the obligations and promise that you made to the people of the state of Pennsylvania, and let's preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your public comment.